breaking news. Nnamdi Kanu, Simon Ekpa Vindicated, as Nigeria's security chief confirms they have been defeated by the Fulani terrorists. Hear the news in details. Wonderful people of Biafra, lovers of freedom all over the world, you are welcome to Biafra Unite channel / television this very moment. Today's date is 2nd of April 2025, and I have breaking information for every one of you listening to my voice right now from wherever you are all over the world. Biafrans and lovers of freedom, it don't happen. And I want you to pay very good attention to this very information because it's very, very important, I can assure you. The Nigeria DSS chief, the director of Nigerian DSS, has openly confirmed that the army, the police, and the terrorist DSS have been defeated by the terrorists. Hence, everybody has the right now to arm themselves in order to defend themselves, or they will be wiped out from the surface of the earth. In the past, we have people like T.Y. Danjuma who boldly came out to speak and ask people to defend themselves, and also said that the army that he was the chief, the overall military head during his days, that this same army collude with the terrorists to terrorize the innocent Nigerians. T.Y. Danjuma said it is in the public. But you may say, this is an old man, he's no longer in service. Fine. But we are talking about the DSS boss, the overall head of DSS. This same man has come out to say the same thing that T.Y. Danjuma said. Now, without wasting any time, I will be reading this very news from Sarah Reporters, as you can see, one of the Zoo media platforms. And according to their headline, they said, "Don't expect army, police, others to protect all of you. Mobilize to defend yourselves against terrorists," DSS chief tells Nigerians. What does that tell you? Remember Musa himself, Musa, who usually cry, has acknowledged on several occasions that they do not have what it takes to defend all Nigerians. He said that they cannot be everywhere. He said it in style, without openly, declared that they have been defeated, like the way this man has openly declared it now. But people who understood very well what Musa was talking about. So this man is telling you that they have been defeated, and what is remaining? The only thing that is remaining right now is for them to surrender to these very Fulani terrorists. And that is going to happen very, very soon. The moment Kashim Shettima takes over power from Tinubu, because I don't see Tinubu completing 8 years. I don't see Tinubu completing 8 years. I am not saying he's going to buy or whatever, but I don't see Tinubu completing 8 years. So the moment Kashim Shettima takes over power in Aso Rock, it's over. You will see your army, your police, your DSS, Air Force, and the Navy openly surrender to the Fulani terrorists, because that is what is going to happen. Now, how did Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and the Prime Minister Mazi Simon Ekpa come in picture? We are going to analyze it, but before then, let us read this very news in details. He referenced past incidents in Bauchi State, where local communities successfully fought off Boko Haram insurgents without waiting for security forces. Okay. The Director General of the Department of State Services, DSS, Mr. Adeola Oluwatosin Ajayi, has stated that Nigerians must take responsibility for their own security, as the military, police, and intelligence agencies do not have the capacity to protect every community from terrorist attacks nationwide. So what else are you doing? Let's continue anyway. Ajayi made the remarks during a public engagement which Symphony broadcasted. So you see, it's making sense now. is now making sense. They said that they do not have the capacity. Look at it. I love that word. He made it very, very clear. He said, as the military, police, and intelligence agencies do not have capacity to protect every community from terrorist attacks nationwide. So what else are you doing? The primary responsibility of every government is the security of lives and properties of the citizens. That is the primary, I said primary responsibility. The number one thing of every government is to protect lives and properties of its citizens. Any government that failed to protect its citizens has failed completely, and that very nation has collapsed. I am telling you, that means the zoo has collapsed, and the only alternative is for all nations inside the zoo to go their separate ways. That is the only alternative. If you are waiting for any magic in the nearest future, I am telling you, you will all be unalived by these very terrorists that is about to take over power in Abuja. They continued. He referenced past incidents in Bauchi State where local communities successfully fought off Boko Haram insurgents without waiting for security forces. Speaking seriously about the practical approach to mobilizing against insecurity, I will share my experience when I was a state director in Bauchi, Ajayi said. Now, do you know why it was possible for them to do it in Bauchi? Because this same man, this Ajayi, a Yoruba man, was the director in Bauchi, and probably he is not among the terrorist military chiefs like Musa and other ones. Because he was the director general in Bauchi, he was the head in Bauchi. He wasn't other, Fulani head of, DSS or military. He's a Yoruba man. So that's why it is possible for the local communities, successfully defeated the terrorists in Bauchi. If not, other places like here in the east, in Biafra land, these terrorists in uniform will never allow the communities to arm themselves in order to defeat the ordinary herdsmen terrorists. It is not possible. Once they hear that you have an even ordinary knife, you are in trouble. Here in the east, you can't walk anywhere in the east with ordinary knife. But in the north, you can walk with anything. You can walk with anything and nobody will disturb you. That is the difficulties we are passing through here. Remember, the title says, Nnamdi Kanu, Simon Ekpa Vindicated. Vindicated. So we are going to connect the dots and know why they are in the picture here. Now they continued. Most of you will remember an incident in Azare. A group of Boko Haram terrorists invaded Azare, shooting in an attempt to kidnap people. But the community fought back. They unalived some members of the community, but in the end, the people unalived all of them. Since that day, there has not been a single terrorist attack in Azare. Ajayi went further to cite former dictator General Ibrahim Babangida retired as endorsing the idea of community-led resistance. As a matter of fact, the former head of state, General Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, said, and I quote, "If we want to stop or curb terrorism, we should emulate the Azare example." According to Ajayi, Tafawa Balewa local government in Bauchi State also serves as a case study of community defense. Remember, the community defense we are talking about is not something that you defend with ordinary knife or stick. Are you paying attention? These terrorists are coming with assorted rifles, AK-47, AK-49, name them, RPG. They are fully armed to the teeth. So for any community to resist them, you must match them with the same kind of ammunition that they are coming with. That is the reason why Nnamdi Kanu and the IPOB created Eastern Security Network. And Mazi Simon Ekpa came on board and reformed it and it became Biafra Defense Forces, Biafra Resistance Fighters, and Biafra Liberation Army, in defense of our land against all kinds of terrorism coming from the northern part of the Zoological Republic of Animal Kingdom, Nigeria. So have you now seen how they have been vindicated against anybody talking ill against two great men? I want you to go and rethink. Check your brain if you are truly okay. Now, he said, the people there rose up on one occasion. They knew their terrain better, climbed up the trees and mountains, and when the invaders came, they not only stopped them, but also seized their weapons. Since then, you hardly hear about attacks in Tafawa Balewa. What I am trying to say is that the practical approach to mobilizing people is that you have to get everyone involved. You cannot expect the Nigerian army, police, or DSS to protect every Nigerian in every community. So they are incapacitated. They are not capable enough to defend the so-called territorial integrity of the damnable Zoological Republic of Animal Kingdom, Nigeria. It is very simple. Everybody can feel it. It's only this very news that I'm giving you today, boldly said by Mr. Ajayi, the head of DSS, Department of State Services, DSS, is enough for Nnamdi Kanu to defeat the zoo in their own court, even though he has been defeating them since they, criminally renditioned him to the zoo. This one alone is enough. You don't need further. Because your security chief has told everybody, every citizen, and every community to defend themselves, because they are not capable of defending the entire country, which means the country has collapsed. What else do you need? That is the reason why we do what we do. We don't just want to defend ourselves, but we also want to, disappear. We want to run away from this evil entity that has taken lives and properties of its citizens. Biafran people say enough is enough. We don't want to continue. We don't want to continue with this evil entity. And he said, it is impossible to deploy security forces everywhere. No security agency has the resources to do that. No security agencies in the zoo has the resources to do that. The military has no resources to do that. The police has no resources to do that. The DSS, the Air Force, the Navy, they do not have the resources to do that. So why are you stopping the people who try to do that, who try to defend themselves, who even try to, let me use that word, let me borrow his so-called secede. Why are you stopping the people who try to, secede from the evil entity that is incapable to defend its citizen and its so-called territorial integrity? Why are you stopping them? Because they are Biafrans? Because they are Igbos? Isn't it? Is that not the truth? Is that not the reason? Now let's continue. Ajayi urged Nigerians to rethink their approach to self-defense, emphasizing that communities must serve as the first line of defense against terrorism and other criminals. The military, police, and other security agencies are there to handle the bigger threats. But communities must take responsibility for defending themselves at the local level. You see, which local level are you talking about? The Fulani herdsmen come here and massacre people, innocent people in their homes. If you try to defend it because you say now local levels, if you try to defend yourself, the army will come and disarm you and allow the Fulani to carry out their job. In the daytime, they are army. They wear uniform, military uniform and police uniform. At night, they remove their uniform and become Fulani herdsmen terrorists. This is it, because we know their agenda. We know their agenda. They have only one agenda: to dip whatever they want to dip in Atlantic Ocean. And they don't just want to dip it in Atlantic Ocean. They are going to conquer whichever route they will take leading to Atlantic Ocean. That is the promise of Ottoman Danfodio. So we know their target. You understand? We know. Now, our culture is communal. We do things together, weddings, ceremonies, and everything. So why can't we fight against some of the miscreants among us together? The community should make it clear you cannot come here. This is what Afawa Balewa has done. If you go there to attack them, you will regret it. I challenge anybody to try it. Ajayi called on Nigerian elites and influential figures to encourage this model in their communities. When we live here, those of us who have influence, the elites in society, must discuss with our communities, come to us, get some approvals and guidance, and then we can stop these criminals, he added. Now, Ajayi, let me tell you, Ademola Ajayi or whatever they call you, I want to remind you as a Yoruba man you are, that some years back, your governors, your own governors, when Fulani herdsmen were terrorizing the southwest, the Yoruba land, your own governors gathered, called on their boys, gathered them, gave them uniform, gave them training, and gave them arms. AK-47 was the initial arms that were given to them. Now, the Fulanis, Mieti Allah, raised alarm. They began to fight from Abuja, from Sokoto, from Kano. They began to fight. There was a lot of problems. What did they do? They used your own brother, Yemi Osibanjo, who was the vice president back then. They used your own brother to destroy Amoteku. Yemi Osibanjo called a meeting in Abuja. I could remember that fateful day because I was watching. The governors traveled all the way from southwest to Abuja, all of them. Went to Aso Villa, discussing with Osibanjo and his bosses, because his bosses were the Fulanis. His boss wasn't just Buhari. His bosses were the Fulani oligarchy. They were all oppressed and suppressed. By the time these governors came back to southwest, they disarmed Amoteku and gave them ordinary double barrel and pump action. Today, they have been completely, paralyzed and incapacitated. That is the reason why Fulani herdsmen terrorists are wreaking havoc in the southwest. It is what it is. I am telling you, it is what it is. But unfortunately, we, the Biafran people, have decided to, take our destinies in our hands and, of course, do what we believe that is better for us and our people. Thank you, my people. To Salon Mozia and make it go viral.